Ms. Robinson, your complaint alleges that you were hired as a cashier in a restaurant that was managed by the defendant, that you were sexually harassed by the defendant in the restaurant, and when you complained about it to the owner, you were fired. Is that what this case is about?
Yes, Your Honor.
When were you hired by this restaurant?
I was hired November 20th, 1997.
And who hired you?
The owner of the restaurant did.
When did you first meet the defendant?
I met him the day that I was hired at the restaurant. I met him that morning. The owner was there, he hired me, and he told me that he wouldn't be there during the afternoon, but Sergio would be there to help me if I needed anything.
And what were your duties in the restaurant?
My duties were to run the register, take phone orders, take the in-store orders, the way you had it set up. When you come in, you place your order, sit down, and your food would be brought to you. I would take those orders. I would if they needed help running the food out, I would do that, and occasionally I would wait the tables.
Tell me about this first experience that you had with sexual harassment by the defendant.
Okay, well, when I first started, he would come over to me while doing my job and pat me on the back.
Slowly.
Okay, he would pat me on the back. That would excite me a little bit since I had just started.
How would he pat you on the back?
Can I show you on my husband? I don't want to be
Who is
charged
this?
or anything. That's my husband.
Stand up, sir. Show me, you could show me on your husband.
Okay, he would just come over to me and pat me on the back and things like that when I was doing a good job, and I didn't think nothing of it. I thought he was trying to boost my ego. And from there, it went to, you're gonna have to stand up again. It went to like just a pat on the butt. It kind of made me feel awkward at that point. Didn't say nothing. It just went from like to a rub on the butt. A lot of times he'd just stand there and just put his arm around and rub my back when I was talking to a customer.
Did you? Sit down. You were very good.
Thank you.
Did you tell him that that made you feel uncomfortable?
I did tell him at one point. I said that I'm just here for a business-like environment. That's it. I told him, I said, you are married, I'm married. I have a daughter, you have a daughter. I said, I am in no way, shape, or form attracted to you, nor do I have any feelings for you.
At what point did you say this to him?
This was about 2 days after I worked there. At first, I didn't want to say anything to him, lose my job, so I'd go home several times and tell my husband, look, this is happening at the restaurant. I just told him. He said, well, confront him. Tell him you don't want him to do it. So I told him, and after telling him it didn't do anything, so I called the owner at his home and told him what was going on. He just told me he had never had a complaint on Sergio as long as he'd been open, which was 2 weeks, and that he didn't believe me. He told me, take a couple days off, I'll call you back. Well, I took 2 or 3 days off, never called me back. So I called him at his other restaurant. He owns 3 restaurants. I called him at the big restaurant, and I told him, I said, look, something has got to be done. So I'm feeling very, very insecure working there. And he just told me, I'll talk to him, I'll talk to him, I'll talk to him.
Had you gone into work?
No, after I told him what was going on, I told him, I'm on my way into work right now. I said, okay, so I'm going to go into work. And he said, no, I don't need you. He said, I've got someone else to fill your place for right now. After the second, I hadn't heard anything, and I said I went to the other restaurant. He told me to meet him there. I picked up my paycheck, asked him if he had talked to Sergio. He said, yes, he did. Sergio had no clue what I was talking about. Now, I do want to bring this to your attention, Your Honor. It's not only me, but 3 other girls. The other 2, at this point, don't want to stand up for ourselves. Our town is so little. My reputation is ruined at this point. So,
Why is your reputation ruined?
It's talk constantly. People tell me that I'm just trying to get money out of him, and I've got harassing phone calls from people that I used to work with. At one point, my husband and I decided to go through a divorce because he wanted to say something to Sergio about this. I just told him, look, just let it go, let it go. And as I said, it's caused me a lot of problems. I have a 7-month-old baby. I can't even support at this point. That social services is trying to take him from me.